tuning in. My name is Marlon Villar and we have a special guest interview for you today. He is a Filipino-American filmmaker from New York who studied photography at Parsons. He's here to discuss his film, Graceland, which won several awards at Tribeca Film Festival in 2012, and now is gaining a lot of recognition. He's here with us now, Ron Morales. Welcome, Ron. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you.
So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited. The film's coming out in theaters, and it was a true passion project, for my wife and I. We spent quite a bit of time working on this film.
Oh yeah, I bet. Please tell us more about Graceland for those who don't know what it's about.
Well, Graceland, like I said, was a passion project for my wife and I. It's a riveting kidnapping thriller set in the Philippines. And it's about the common man struggling to do everything he possibly can to save his daughter.
We actually have a clip to show our audience, the trailer. So why don't we check it now?
Hello.
Sir, kinuha. Tulungan niyo kami!
Ano to?
Elsie! 1, 2, 3.
Wow. Why don't we talk about the whole process of filming that movie? What did you do to make this?
Well, what we did to make the film, we had to raise the money, and what we did several campaigns, at bars, and people gave us donations. For the most part, my friend of mine, producer Sam Ryder, he came over, he read the script, he said, "Man, you got to do this script. It's great. It's fantastic." And I was like, "Yeah, but, we're gonna get the money," and lo and behold, talking to a bunch of people, we managed to put together a certain amount to get over there, and we only had enough money for a 16-day shoot, technically 17 days.
Okay.
And generally in motion pictures, you usually have at least 25 days of shooting, so let's just say it was a very rough shoot. We shot every day was almost a 22-hour day shoot day.
It looks like it was taking place in the Philippines, right?
Yes, it was. We were there for about 2 months. I did casting for a month, and then production was 3 weeks. So, and then at the last week, all of us crashed and slept.
Oh. When you were talking about the fundraising aspect of it, it's more of an independent film because you're pretty much working from the ground up to make it.
It's true, and this is truly an independent film. From my background, I work on major motion picture sets, like The Departed or Nick and Nora, those types of movies. So what we ended up doing is I used some of that knowledge and actually made most of our life.
Well, you got to do what you got to do when making that film. But I've noticed, especially recently, like it's really getting a lot of recognition, more attention, and I believe it's trying to break into the U.S. market.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We got picked up by Draft House, and they love the film. And what happened was, they said, let's bring this even further out. Let's just get it to the broader audience. And so, for an independent film, like we would never have thought that this film would go that far. We're opening in I think 17 or 18 cities: New York, LA, Chicago, San Francisco, San Diego, Austin.
So nationwide, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's a
Hawaii,
breakthrough.
Hawaii's-
That is.
I don't remember the last Filipino film I saw break out in the U.S. like that. So it's really exciting, and I'm really proud and psyched for what's to come.
I thought it was just New York, and every other weekend. But no, it's.
It's
so
pretty.
it's really just hitting like several theaters throughout the nation, and congrats. That's a big success.
Yeah, and you can check it out. People can check it out on. Just go to drafthousefilms.com, and you'll see the cities, the nearest city near you.
And I know opening day is very important too, because that just shows numbers. Like if you can get the numbers to come to a film, especially if it's directed by a Filipino-American, that makes it even more incredible.
That means we can actually stay in the theater.
We can stay in theaters, and hopefully it can be distributed to the mainstream theaters as well. So that's a huge thing too.
We're hoping that's going to be the case.
Well, best of luck. Like just looking at the trailer, it does expose certain issues in the Philippines, such as human trafficking, government corruption, and even crime. Like just from that trailer alone, like was there an inspiration of why you chose those topics, or did you meant to highlight that?
Well, the inspiration for the film, I was actually reading an article when I was over there with my cousins. I was reading an article about a recent kidnapping. We're driving in the car, and all of a sudden we got pulled over by a police officer.
Oh.
And I almost felt like a little shakedown in terms of, when you're over there.
Yeah, like, oh my God, the police,
Yeah.
like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah. I just imagine what could possibly go wrong in a situation like that. And that's really the seed for Graceland. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the inspiration, right?
That was the inspiration, but my first film, Santa Mesa, which, did the Boston Festival circuit in 2008, that was more about my investigation of my culture. And this one, I really wanted to touch upon the social issues there. I wanted to just touch on it more so, but I wanted to tell a story, like a strong human story. And I feel like with doing a genre piece, like a thriller, people can also, be entertained, but also get this social message. It's a give and take, I think, in filmmaking, because if you do too much of an art house film, they might not relate to it. So
I know what you mean, and I think when you're reaching to a broader audience too, although it may not be relatable, but they can understand like what's going, like that's whether they know it or not, that this is actually could happen in the Philippines.
Yeah, and it does exist. It does exist. People might not want to see it, but it's there.
And I feel that maybe when the community watches the film, do you think it plays like an influence to them? Like when they see it, it will bring like more of the awareness of those issues. But do you think like some social good will come out of that?
I hope so. I only have one really memorable moment of when we screened it in the Philippines, and a mother and a daughter. The daughter was, I think, maybe 16 or 17. She saw it in the theater, and she walked out of there and said, "Wow, this is one of the best Filipino films I've ever seen. It was so touching. It was so real. It was so riveting." I'm so happy that I got to see it, but it still felt like I almost like it stuck with her.
Like kind of resonated with them, like wow.
Yeah.
You and your production team pretty much reached out to UniPro because they felt there was a need to really expand this film to the audience, because like you were mentioning before, when you were doing maybe the first film, like trying to reach the identity, like you're kind of discovering your identity, but with this one it's more social issues. Do you think this film helped you become more aware of the issues that's going on, or like at least try to get the audience to
I think it
to be
was
aware?
for more me to have the audience aware, because most of the time I know I've done it myself, where I go to the Philippines, I just go to the beach, I go, but this time around I specifically went back and interviewed sex workers, spoke to even the other side, the guys who were buying, and
So you did like investigative work, really,
Just-
to make sure.
just a little bit of investigative work. The kidnapping portion I could only do articles and what I could read online, and it's pretty gruesome stuff that that I just think needs to be told. And if I can get it out there in an entertaining way, then that's great. And also showcase the talent of the Filipino.
Of course,
like
yeah.
Filipino actors are so talented. There's so many.
We need more of those too. Especially if we talk about like Asian Americans in general trying to break into the mainstream media, that's really something that we could discuss on the larger term, because what you're doing try to breaks that stereotype. You're not really doing a stereotypical Asian, a Filipino in a media setting. And given the tone of the whole film, being it serious and it's a thriller, was there any like funny or awkward moments like throughout the whole shoot? Because like, come on, like it is a little sensitive to given the topic of this
It
film.
was
Any funny?
We had a lot of fun on set. I mean, besides the film being so heavy, there were several times, like our sound mixer Nicola, when we interviewed him, he said, we're going to do a lot of driving shots. We might not have room to put you somewhere, so we need you to know where to put the mics. He's like, don't worry about it. I'll jump in the trunk. I was like, no, you're not going to jump in the trunk. And then day 2, 3, 7 of the shoot, he was in the trunk and I was in the trunk of the car.
What the heck? That's so funny. Like, well, I know, especially being in the Philippines, like last time I visited, just going through the traffic, even like the cars, it's a whole mess. What other projects are you working on besides Graceland? I know you're trying to get that film out there. Like, are you working on anything right now in the future?
I'm working with several. I have 2 screenwriting partners, and we're working on several scripts. One's a U.S. film. It's a U.S. border crossing thriller.
Of course, another thriller.
And I'm actually working on another one. It's Filipino, but it's about overseas Filipino workers.
Oh, okay.
So
Can you give us a little sneak peek to that?
The sneak peek is.
Because I know that's another
honestly,
topic.
it's a love story.
Yeah?
It's very different, but it's a little bit on the brutal side.
Okay. Well, that's going to be soon to come, right?
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
But it's still in the very early stages.
Well, that's good that that you're continuing your work. And as a filmmaker, do you have maybe any advice for those who are currently struggling, or not even struggling, but trying to get their film out there? Like, who's also, especially for Filipino-Americans, there is a growing community out there who's trying to get their works get recognized and submitted to the film festivals.
I mean, I say the best thing for and whenever I speak to young aspiring filmmakers, I just tell them to write, because it's free, and you do it anytime. But other than that, if you have a short film, put it up on Kickstarter. You just try to raise whatever little bit of money, but the amount of exposure you can get just from people looking and clicking on Kickstarter websites, which is what we did to help finish the film.
Crowdsourcing nowadays using today's technology, like it's amazing how platforms such as that can
Facebook, Twitter,
oh yeah,
all of that. It really helps. Gets people aware.
Well, Ron, I want to thank you so much for coming here. And to our viewers, make sure you watch Graceland. It's premiering here in New York at Village East Cinema starting April 26th to May 2nd. And I believe you guys are doing a question and answer.
Yes, well, I will be there for the Q&A.
So yeah, so there will be a Q&A for you guys on Sunday, April 28th, as well as April 30th for the 7:50 p.m. screening, and I think the 5:10.
Yes.
You'll check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out on their website, but they'll definitely have that question and answer. I also want to thank Ron Ancheta and Ugly Kitchen for this beautiful space for us to use, as well as Filipino-American Unity for Progress, also known as UniPro, for making this connection. Greatly appreciate it, as well as Kababayan Media and Film TV for this production. Thanks so much, Ron, and hope you guys catch us next time. Bye.
Bye.